record. Go for it, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, SG. Also, welcome to Coach Fadlu, and also good morning to my colleagues and members at SAFJA as well. Thanks so much, Coach, for honoring our invite to here on our platform and have this long-awaited interview and audience of SAFJA members. It's been a while. I think the last time we spoke to you, you were still with Simba. And it's good to also see the progress of making it some of the biggest clubs on the continent, Raja. I know the task that awaits there. Let's see, you are in one of the toughest leagues on the continent. When you look at the teams that are fighting for the CAF club competitions positions there in the bottom of Sudan, Asma, Aras Mikano, ourselves, and us as well. We're looking forward to see what you can achieve there, but a big target for you. Would like to see you back in the CAF Champions League or CAF Conference so that can be able to interact with you on a regular basis and visit some of your nations as well. Thanks once again, Coach. All the best.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. And yeah, it's a pleasure to speak to you guys after a very long time. Yes, you're right.
Okay, thanks, Chairman. Coach, maybe you, to kick us off, as Velile mentioned, you've crisscrossed from Tanzania back to Morocco. I imagine it's been a bit of a whirlwind, just moving across, having had pre-season with one team and then all of a sudden you back in your old stomping ground. Just tell us about that decision and how you found, one would call maybe a readjustment of some sort, and obviously trying to take Raja to greater heights again. And then I'll allow questions from colleagues to raise their hands and we'll follow the order. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, it's been a tough decision, first of all, to leave Simba because I really believed in the project. I have a very good relationship with the president. Bought into his vision, and of course, it was Champions League this season and building the squad for Champions League. But once the decision was made and we came here, we found ourselves in a situation where two matches were played, and we were fortunate or unfortunate to only play 5 matches, and then we're on a break, and yeah, we basically in a pre-season camp at the moment, and it's good for me and my staff coming into a new team to be able to have this time. And of course, this is the moment we had 5 matches to basically assess the squad and see what is needed and what is required and what the league is like now in a situation where we were away for one season. And of course, the dominance of Berkane last season in the league and to see what is happening. And we're currently in Saudi now to work on our team. And of course, the president and the board are working behind the scenes to recruit in certain areas, in key areas. And of course, with a big club like Raja, we know it's Champions League we are fighting for. We are fighting hard to get back into the Champions League, and we're quite close. We played our first match now in Saudi, Al Wahda. We lost 2-0. And now we got a big match against Al Ahly on Friday. So we're looking forward to seeing some of our players play tonight in against Syria in the quarterfinal of the Arab Cup, of course. So some of our players are out, and of course also 2 players are called up to to the main national team for the AFCON that is coming, and really excited to have the AFCON in Morocco, and it's a fantastic time to be here in Morocco where we're hosting the AFCON, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting tournament. But so far, of course, when you move with your staff, it's really makes it easier to adjust. When you've been with the club before, it makes it easier to adjust. But of course, it's a new club, it's a new board, it's a new president. Uh, some familiar faces in terms of the internal staff, but a lot of new faces in terms of the board, in terms of the president. What we've come across now since we've returned.
Okay, Kamu, your hand is up. Go for it.
Assalamu alaikum, Coach. Kamu here from VOW FM. Coach,
Walaikum salam.
Coach, I'm seeing, your journey, then Maritzburg United, then it's Simba, then it's now Raja. Through all those moves in those teams, what have you learned about yourself as a coach? And also, what have you learned as well with the different leagues in making sure that, you always upskill yourself as a coach with the modern day football? Thank you.
Of course, when I was in my playing time as well, I was always very interested to explore different countries and explore playing abroad. And, you're not always able to. I was privileged to play, one season in Bulgaria, and that experience with the Italian influence of Inter Milan, who had a close link to the club with fitness coaches, with coaches coming from that side. So always left an imprint on my brain, of course, to be able to explore and try to get out. I was not the most talented footballer, so I didn't have a chance to further my career in Europe and abroad, where I'd have liked to. But of course, the coaching journey, once I started it, always have my thoughts and ambitions to coach abroad. And yeah, you learn. We're quite lucky as South African coaches to come into a multicultural society, and coaching a multicultural team at most times, players coming from different backgrounds and having to get the most out of them. And football and coaching is about management and player management and team management and board management. So besides the tactical part, which is important but not the most important, this has developed coaches in South Africa to be able to manage these type of environments. And yes, the different projects, a project like Maritzburg or project like Pirates or project like Raja has different pressures, has different ambitions and targets, and all coaching jobs and projects as built me up to where I am today. And I'm still on the journey of learning and striving to be the best I can be. And that has been my journey so far. I was privileged or not privileged to, when I retired, immediately go to a CAF B course and try to go on that journey of CAF A, but the coaching courses were just postponed, and then I decided to go the European route in the UK to complete my licenses. Then every off season, traveling to courses, different periodization courses, tactical courses in Belgium, in Barcelona, in the Netherlands, to empower myself. So when I retired, is every off season, travel to Europe to do a course, to do a periodization course, a tactical course, a management course to empower myself, at the same time doing my UEFA licenses, and finally completing the UEFA Pro. My journey of learning and being a student, a lifelong student of the game, will continue no matter where I coach. And of course, when you have your UEFA Pro, you have to continually do the CPD points to be able to maintain your license every 3 years to renew it. So all the experiences as a player, as a coach in different situations, in different clubs, different size of clubs, and now I've been privileged to be part of big clubs with big targets, with big ambitions, and this is the level where you want to be at, where you constantly have to win. And in any club, in Maritzburg, in Chippa, in Bloemfontein, Celtic, you have to win to maintain your job. But at big clubs, a draw is like a loss, and you constantly um, have to win to be able to maintain your position, to be able to maintain the club's targets, the demanding fans. And these are the clubs where you thrive at, where you really stretch yourself to be the best that you can be. Every day is a day where you're trying to improve, you're trying to find ways to improve your team, to improve your staff, to improve the club as a whole. And it's been a fantastic journey so far, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and really excited for what's to come.
Okay, let's go to Sebastian and then Leo.
Good morning, colleagues. I hope I'm audible. My name is Sebastian, and Coach, quickly I have two questions for you. Number one, just to continue with what the one has just asked. I mean, what are the key highlights, about Simba SC? I mean, in terms of, I remember the continental breakthrough, and those dominant league starts, I think in 2024, 2025, and, those unbeaten streaks. And my second question is, what can be expected, from Raja this season, in terms of, the achievements, and how will this break, affect the team both positively and negatively? Thank you.
Can you repeat your first question about Simba?
Just
Sorry, Sebastian.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Sebastian, I can articulate it for you for the coach.
Okay.
The
Okay.
highs and lows at Simba, coach. I think that's the crux of his question. Obviously, continental football and some unbeaten streaks there, and doing quite well in the Confed Cup.
Yeah, Simba was a fantastic experience, coming into a team where we had 15 new players signed, not by me, by the club, because I joined quite late. Yes, we had a pre-season, but all of the players that were recruited were recruited by the club. I did my first 3 weeks of pre-season. On the first day, I lost my number one goalkeeper through injury, who came back not in a good condition, and immediately I was on the lookout for a new goalkeeper because he was said to be out, whether he needed surgery or not. It was unclear, and that was one issue I came across. And of course, the second issue was the need for a striker. Well, the recruitment being done already, and the squad being set, the president allowed me to make these two extra signings. So instead of 13 signings, we came to 15 signings, and yeah, I had to make do with what was there. Was a squad signed, a relatively young, inexperienced squad. The profile range was from 18 to 24 years old. So young players were being recruited by the club. And I found myself with a squad that had to work with and try to make the most out of it. And yeah, we started the first competitive match, was the Community Shield against Young Africans, where the previous season we lost 5-1-2, or lost both matches. The other match 2-1, both derbies, and it was the third year of dominance by Young Africans. The third season, and Simba ended number 3 on the standings, out of the Champions League. For the first time in a long time. So it was a rebuilding phase, and we took it like that. And of course, when you come to the club as a new coach, you try to plan. You try to first of all create a situation where you can have instant success, but also build for a sustainable success. So we were not only thinking about regaining the dominance, winning the league, but also with the president's ambition to create a force to be the champions of Africa in the Champions League. So it was a twofold project where we had to re-establish the squad, get back into Champions League, but also rebuild the squad for Champions League. So there were lots of ups and downs. The losing the league on the last day, of course, is a an achievement on the one sense where we took it to the last day of the season where Simba was out of the title race, and on the last day of the previous season they were fighting for second spot. So we definitely achieved, but very disappointing for a coach where you come to the last day of the season and you're not able to beat Yanga, and we lost that match, that final match to win the league. Had we won the match, we were champions. So that was very disappointing and hard for us to take as a technical team. But of course, getting to the CAF final, it's the highlight, but also a huge disappointment in not being able to win Berkane in the final. And for me as a coach, it's my second time losing to Berkane in the CAF Confederations Cup final, where myself and Orlando Pirates with Coach Mandla got to the final of the CAF Confederations Cup. So an achievement on the one hand, but also a huge disappointment on the other, not being able to win the two trophies that were there for us to win. But these are also moments as a coach where you grow, where you learn, where you get into these situations, and that's how I always look at it. Whether we win, whether we lose, you learn so much more when you lose, and you grow so much more when you lose, because when you win, you plaster over a lot of things that went wrong or where you could improve by the euphoria of a victory. And we then built the squad. We released another 12 players and signed another 12 players. We had full backing of the president to make the signings that we were now building the squad for the second phase of the project, where it was now dominating Champions League. And you cannot just have a squad and have one window where you're building the squad, where you're building the club to be able to achieve the president's objectives, that is to dominate Africa. It's a little bit like when Patrice Motsepe came into Sundowns, and he wants to win domestically, but his main ambition is to win, to build the club to be a dominant force in Africa. So there were a lot of things that went right on the field. There were a lot of things that went wrong off the field at Simba, and I had my meeting with the president and in Dubai at the end of the season, and I highlighted the things that have to improve for us to be a dominant force in Africa, with the internal runnings of the club. And we have a highly ambitious president, we have a highly ambitious technical team, and the club has to also step up to this high performance culture and become highly ambitious as well, and follow on all fronts in relation to logistics, in relation to infrastructure, in relation to giving us the right conditions to work. And these after my meeting with the president, and of course he knows and the club knows that there were a lot of options for us during even the first round of the league. We had opportunities to leave, to move, but I opted to stay at the end of the season as well. There were again callings from North Africa to come, other callings, offers and opportunities. But after my meeting with the president in Dubai, I had a meeting with my technical team, and we decided to stay. And to see, and of course, when you when you come to the club and the president has backed us in the transfer window to be able to make our 12 signings. Yes, one big X factor signing was needed to not only surpass the club's previous record of quarterfinal, but get to semi-final and final of Champions League. And we were not able to make that signing for different reasons. But once we started the season, we could see that although the president has tried everything, the workings within the club did not meet the ambitions of the club, and that's when we took the decision to step down and then explore other opportunities. So it was really disappointing and sad to leave because I love the club, I love the fans, I love the president has been absolutely amazing and backed us on all fronts. But when you see, the misalignment in ambitions and inner workings and daily workings of the club, and I don't want to divulge too much because it's a big club, it's a big institution. But when things are not aligned, I decided, and my technical team, we sat down and we decided to step aside, and maybe another coach can come and because we've built a fantastic squad, we've built the foundations of a team that is able to win on all fronts, and the squad is well balanced on all fronts, and I've had the opportunity, and I've turned down Raja Club twice, and when they came calling for the third time, it was with a new project, with a new board, and highly ambitious board and president. We decided immediately once that opportunity came to jump, and here we are.
Coach, I think the second part of Sebastian's question was targets and mandates at Raja Club.
At a big club, you're always targeted and mandated to win. It's although it's a long-term project, the football job is short-term. You have to win immediately. And our first 5 matches, we were already targeted we had 4 training sessions before we played our first match. I was fortunate enough to know there were still 8 remaining players. So from the last time we were here, but we had a new squad, a new team. A lot of players were signed by the club, and we immediately had to win and stay close to the top. And yeah, in our 5 matches, 3 wins and 2 draws were fair. We lost we drew 1 match in the last minute against Fez Mas, where we conceded a penalty in the 95th minute. And that was unfortunate not to get 4 wins and 1 draw, but now it's a moment to rebuild, to restructure, but the ambitions are the same. You have to get Raja back into Champions League. We have to try to win Botola. We have to try to win Throne Cup. Like at any big club, the mandates are clear before you join. Nobody needs to tell you, we need to do this, we need to do that. You should always be there on top, fighting for leagues, fighting for trophies at all costs.
Okay, Coach, I'm going to take a question from the chat here because Neo says he was in the Uber and the Uber driver was blasting the music. So his question is, Coach, you've just mentioned your excitement about AFCON being held in Morocco. Naturally, I would imagine you'd be rooting for Bafana Bafana. In your view, do they have what it takes to go all the way to win the tournament? And how do you assess Bafana's recent success as a whole?
You have to, of course, we want Bafana to win it this time. On the other hand, my second team, of course, is Morocco. Bafana and Morocco in the final will be a fantastic for my situation. Of course, you have to give a huge credit to the coach, since he's come, Hugo Broos. Against public opinion, he stuck to his vision, he stuck to his plan, he stuck to his structure of how he wants to do things, and he's turned around the fortunes of our country, of our football. Yes, a lot of that has got to do, and in relation at the same time, in relation to Patrice Motsepe's vision of building Sundowns to the point of dominating Africa and building to a point of many years in the Champions League quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, and of course that gives the players of Sundowns the experience of playing on the African continent, and it helps Bafana Bafana and Pirates recent producing of young talents that are coming through. And Hugo Bruce was always very clear about not picking players over the age of 30. He made one exception with Themba Zwane after a lot of pressure. And you can only admire the coach for his vision and how he's built the team so far. And we got a huge chance. South Africa and Bafana Bafana is now respected on the African continent as one of the powerhouses and expected to get to semi-final, final, at least in this tournament. So quite optimistic, but a huge credit has to go to the coach to lead the team to where it is at this point. And with the talent that we have coming through, with the talent especially in the attacking parts of the team. There's so many options, so many qualities and different qualities to choose from, and how the coach wants to play. And we're so optimistic that we can go all the way this time around.
Okay, thanks, Coach. We're moving on to Jay and then Lekoko. Jay, go for it.
Good day, Coach. Good day, colleagues. Coach, I wanted to ask, to piggyback on the question around the mandates. You've been in the job for a little while now, and in terms of your start, you're undefeated, have conceded only one goal in the league, but maybe a bit goal shy. So I wanted to get your assessment of where the team is at the moment and what you foresee needs to improve in order to get to those goals that you have for your team. And then my second question, Coach, would be from here in South Africa, we've heard about the performances of Thembi Kgosi in Morocco. And as somebody who worked with him at what would maybe call his peak here in South Africa, and now that you are in Morocco and have gotten to see him up close in the derby as well, what do you make of his game and where it's at the moment? Thank you.
Yeah, hi Jay. Thanks for your question. At the moment, yes, we have a very strong defensive record, but that's not only due to the defense and the goalkeeper. It's really how we try to put pressure with our pressing structure, try to regain the ball. And we've had a set of dominance to have 60+% possession, and the club with one of the highest box entries, final third entries, and we create so many opportunities to win matches and more convincingly. But it's been like you said, goal shy in terms of what we create and the shots we have, and even moments where we get into certain areas where we're not really affecting the XG by shooting. And these are the things we are working on to have that fluidity in attack in terms of how we want to attack, which spaces we want to attack in, and how can we create better, higher XG, better goal scoring opportunities for our players to be able to execute. Yes, we are in a situation where we are looking to add to the attacking, to our firepower. We have good players in our current team, but probably lack a little bit of depth and probably lack that final big match players to be able to impact games or finish off the chances that we do create. So that's an ongoing process, and it's when I talk about the defense, we need to strengthen in the attack, but also strengthen in other departments to be able to create and to generate the chances that to be able to win matches. So that's an ongoing process that we are working on, training time on the pitch, but also recruitment to be able to strengthen that department. Mazola, if you can, there was a second question from Jay, if you can
Yeah,
remind me.
he asked about Lodge, given that you worked with him at his peak per se, and then you are up close now in Morocco.
Is Wydad are a team currently that are a little bit more direct in their approach. You know, they play with a 6'4", a striker, Hanouri, and slightly more direct in their approach with a lot of crosses and a lot of long ball set pieces. But with the signing of Lorch or the re-signing of Lorch and Azizki, these are the two players that are really making Wydad a little bit more uh, interesting to watch, because he's been absolutely amazing at every attack. Lorch is at the center of it, so a lot of their team and their attacks are going through Lorch, and we know he's the type of player that can win a match for you with one action. And he's not only a player that can play between the lines, he's a player that uses the space behind the defense line as well. So he gives their team so much in terms of creativity and flair, and what they probably lacking in their approach or their playing style at the moment. So he's been absolutely amazing. At the same hand, I respect the coach's decision, and like we all speaking about Loach and AFCON, and yes, he's up there with the best in South Africa. But the coach has his style, he has his clear way of playing, and he decides who comes in, and we have to support Hugo Bruce. Disappointed for Loach, because as a player, when you are performing the way you do outside the country, maybe not appreciated as much when you're doing it for Sundowns, Pirates, or Chiefs, and where everybody sees it on a weekly basis. Everybody's talking about it on a weekly basis. Here we see it is well respected within the league, within the Morocco, and we have to support Hugo Bruce now in not selecting him. I read his comments as well. I saw his video where he spoke about Loach, and we have to respect him. We have to support him, and we have to get behind the national team with the attacking players that are on the pitch that the coach selects. Because, like I said, the talent in South Africa at the moment, especially in the wingers, number 10's position, is unbelievable. So the coach has a lot to choose from, a lot of firepower in the attack in the upcoming AFCON.
Hey, Coach, we're gonna circle back to Leo. I think I skipped him by mistake there. Leo, the platform is yours.
Hi, Coach Leonard Song from ESPN Africa. Thanks so much for your time today. If you look at Bafana's squad for this Africa Cup of Nations, there's a lot of young players who are either at Orlando Pirates at the moment, or came through Orlando Pirates development structures and moved on. So I think it's fair to say this is one of the most successful periods for them in terms of youth development in their history. You obviously were at the club before. Did you see any of the seeds being planted that led to what's happened in the last few years with the youth development? And also, how do the youth development structures in South Africa compare to what you've experienced in Morocco? Thank you.
Thanks, Leo. Yes, Orlando Pirates have definitely a vision of management structure that are not only looking at the here and now, but also looking at the future. And yes, Pirates always have this tours that they have the young teams travel to the UK or to Europe to be able to play different matches and have that experience. And you have the Pirates Cup that is also happening every year, and there's definitely a vision, a strategy behind. It's not by accident that Pirates are now suddenly producing and playing more youngsters and producing players for the national team. And this is all due to the people behind the scenes, the people that are not always at the face of or trying to be in the media spotlight, but strategic thinking, strategic workings behind the scenes, instant success plans, 5-year plans, 10-year plans, and you will see it now. And Orlando Pirates are always looking for that X factor to do. They're not the team that are going to always buy the best players like Sundowns. They have a different strategy, and now that they're producing these young players with a certain recruitment in terms of their squad, they will always thrive and they will be up there challenging Sundowns in the next years to come. You're not always guaranteed success, but the way they are doing it, the way they are investing in the club, in the youth, in the structures behind the scenes to make the first team top tier on international standards, they will always create the right environment for these players to thrive and grow and be ready. The youth structures in South Africa, South Africa had a huge benefit out of the Ajax Amsterdam link, where more teams, SuperSport, Orlando Pirates, Sundowns are focusing and have good academies building through. Morocco has implemented or started a new project where they've assigned technical directors for all clubs in Morocco, where they can assign the coaches, where they can put in a structure, where they can invest, and they are paying the coaches. They are putting a technical director in place. So there's definitely a big investment in the youth, and you will not only you have the Mohammed VI Academy as well. That is world class on international standards. This is a facility on international standards. They are coaches, high quality coaches at youth level, where they take the best players, a little bit like a school of excellence, but on international standard level, with a real investment are going into the youth at the Mohammed VI Academy. And now with the first step this season, they've implemented it into all the clubs in Morocco. So you will see this fruits not now in the next years, but in 5 years, in 10 years, when the first generation or second generation of this project comes through. So a lot of focus are being put on the youth and youth development and proper coaching and proper coaches and qualified coaches for the youth to be able to produce the type of players. And as you see it in the national team, there's only 2 players or let's say one player in the starting lineup in the national team out of the league, and that is our Yusuf Belamri, our left fullback. The rest of the players in Morocco are playing in Europe. So if you want to compare the two, South Africa has done well over a certain period, but there are lots more that can be done, that can be invested into the youth and youth academies and better academies and qualified coaches and coaches that are specialists in their divisions in South Africa that can produce, because we have the natural raw talent coming out of South Africa. But if we invest a little bit more into the youth, we will be able to not only have a period of success in Bafana, but we can have a sustainable conveyor belt of quality youngsters that don't only have the talent, but are taught the basic fundamentals in youth development to be able to equip them for international standard, but also having more players not only playing in South Africa, but back playing in the top leagues in Europe.
Hey, colleagues, we've got about 15 minutes left. We'll try squeeze in. I see there's still lots of hands, but let's go to Lekoko and then Nick Gleason.
Good afternoon, Coach. I just want to find out from myself. Yeah, it's Lekoko from Lekoko Space and Mzansi Fundis. I just want to find out that from your side, you've experienced the PSL, you've experienced the Botola. Morocco is quite intentional about wanting to dominate African football, and it's no secret. We know some of the things that they've done. But what I want to find out from you, because you've had coaches complaining, especially in the PSL, with whether it be a national team coach, whether it be a club coach, complaining about lack of support, maybe from the league coming in. What would you say from a league point of view, the Botola is happening in terms of the difference that you would have as support to the national team and some of the notable things that you would have experienced that are not necessarily spoken about in the media?
Yeah, highly, Coco. Thank you. Thanks for your question. I've spoken about this implementation from the top, to be able to help academies and help more investment into youth structures of clubs, because, at the moment, it's only the big clubs that are really having the resources to be able to run this youth academies, to run this, to pay qualified coaches, to have the right infrastructure for the youth to come through. So this is the one difference where I can say the federation has really put money into this project, qualified technical directors in each clubs, overseer of certain areas, whether it's Casablanca, whether it's Rabat, whether it's Fez or different areas. So a lot of work is being done in relation to this. Another thing that is done in Morocco is the maintenance of pitches. You know, you have a certain standard of pitch. You see it in Algeria, where Adramovic is complaining of training on artificial pitches, playing on artificial pitches in the Premier League. And this is where Morocco is one of the best. Every playing surface, no matter at what stadium you will go to, it's of a certain standard, and this is maintained and managed by the league. So you have a certain product. South Africa has better infrastructure, better stadiums, better infrastructure in terms of stadiums where you play at. So Morocco might not have the best stadium. You will have a 12,000 seater or 5,000 or 7,000 seater. Not the best stadium, but the pitch, you are guaranteed that you are playing on a top quality pitch in every match you play, in every province you play. There's a certain standard, and that is managed by the league. And with our stadiums and our infrastructure, if you complement that with top pitches, you will get a better product. You'll get better players. You'll see better football because South African players are so skillful. But you will get to a Moses Mabhida sometimes where it's just going through a period where the pitch is completely terrible. We've seen it, and you say it cannot be done, but just an example is when the German team came to Nelspruit and they took care of the pitches for pre-season. When you go to a pre-season in South Africa, you are guaranteed that you are going to train on brown pitches. But a German team sent their own specialist and took over the training facilities and pitches they're going to train on. And then you saw green, lush grass in the heart of winter, where you ask yourself, how can this be done? As the management of the specialists coming in to make sure that you can get green pitches in the winter, in the heart of winter, in Johannesburg, in Nelspruit, wherever it is, in Rustenburg. So this is possible, but if South Africa can invest, first of all, and that's why I say where Morocco has been doing that, South Africa is not doing. These two aspects will definitely, the youth, number one, and of course the playing surfaces, the management of the type of pitches you play on in South Africa. I'm not saying that the pitches in South Africa are of a bad quality, but they can be of a much higher quality throughout the year, whether it's winter, whether it's summer. Normally in summer in Johannesburg and these places where there's more rain, you get better pitches, but this can be done, and it showed with the German team coming in the heart of winter and training on green lush pitches where the experts coming in.
Nick?
Good afternoon, Coach. Nick Leeson from Backpage Media here. You spoke about right after finishing your playing days, attempting to go straight through the coaching route. Was that something, the coaching route was something, is that something you saw as a path for your career from quite early, or how did that kind of come into fruition?
Hi, Nick. Yes, I think from, say, 25 years old, I took an interest. I had these meetings with Ernst Middendorp. As the captain, he installed me as captain at Maritzburg. And I had my meetings with him, and we spoke regularly about me taking the step into coaching and me being interested in coaching. I was always writing down sessions, writing down things that different coaches, Gordon Nigerson, Owen de Gama, with Ernst Middendorp, different coaches that I've worked under while I was in Europe as well. These things came back to me. And that interest was there. And I was unfortunate or fortunate where I had a big ankle injury at the last day of the season. I was 30 years old, and when I came back from my injury, the operation, the ankle op, where with the surgeon in Cape Town. I'll never forget the day where he said, "Your ankle is so messed up, you won't be able to play." And I said, "I will show you." And I came back and I played for 1 season limping. And that's where Ernst Middendorp took me in his change room and he said, "Look, you can think about the next 1-2 years. You're 31 years old. Or think about the next 20, 40 years of your career." And it was a hard decision because I still wanted to play. And I was still playing, but probably the best decision of my life, where he said, "Okay, tomorrow you leave the players' change room, you come to the coaches' change room, and you be my assistant." Where he returned to the club on his second stint, and yeah, then the rest is history. And that a lot of ex-players, they rely on the experience, they rely on their football experience. And I knew that although I have the experience, I have the knowledge, but I had to educate myself how to take the information, the experience, and to process it and to download it in a certain way into the players' brains. And that was my journey, where I decided to take the route to educate myself and how to process this information and to break it down into systematic steps to be able to and relate to the players in a way that they are able to take my experience, my knowledge, my that I've gained over the years as a player, and also through my courses and through my obtaining my licenses. So yeah, that's a journey that has started, and I don't think it will stop. I will keep on trying to and be a lifelong student of the game.
Let's go to, these will be the final three colleagues, Yanga, David, and then we'll finish off with Chairman.
Good afternoon, colleagues, and good afternoon, coach. My name is Yang Asipembe, and I'm from the Daily Maverick. I just wanted to find out, coach, actually, just to also piggyback on next question, or maybe take it forward. But in terms of the people that have helped shape your coaching career, have helped you become the coach that you are today. If there are any people that you can mention, just a word on those people and the role that they've played in making you the coach you are.
Yeah, thanks, Yanga. I don't think I'd be here today if it wasn't for Ernst Middendorp and having that clear meeting with him. First of all, he installed me as captain of the club because he saw some leadership qualities in me. And then when he left the club and came back, and I was coming back from my injury, and I played the first 2 matches of the season, and then was limping. And he said, "Look, you're trying, you're pushing, you're a professional." And I even had a huge fight with him and said, "Look, I need to play to be able to get to a rhythm. You played me the first 2 matches, and now you're not playing me." We fought. I remember one day he was setting up the pitch, and I was talking to him, and he was walking, putting cones, and I was walking. We were shouting at each other. But as a captain, I needed to play, and he says, "You're not ready. You're not. You cannot perform at the level. Just look at it." And then in January it came. He then called me in and said, "Look, there's an opportunity. Take this opportunity. Think about it. Take a day or two." And when I came into the technical team, and how open he was about sharing his knowledge, of allowing me to run sessions, allowing me to build my knowledge and pick into his brain. Why did you do this? Why did you shout at this player? What was your strategy here in the match? This substitute, that substitute, it worked, it didn't work. I went on a periodization course, and I remember while I was training with him, we were doing preseason running, like crazy. And I went on the periodization course and came back and explained to him the course. And immediately the next season preseason said, "Let's try to implement it." And we completely changed, and that is how he has stayed in touch with the modern game. As old as he is, always trying new things, always being up to date with the modern trends and what coaches are doing at the highest level. And he really allowed me to come into his circle and be part of his coaching journey, and open to share his experiences being coach in Bundesliga in different countries in Asia, in Africa, wherever it was. And like I said, it wouldn't be for I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for him opening up the door and being open to his way of seeing football and experiencing football and always educating himself. And he always told me at that moment, look, you former coach, a former player, you're going to get offers within this. Don't take the offer that comes within 5 years. Be an assistant for 5 years, learn, get your licenses, go to the highest level of licenses. And when he left Chippa, there was a call for me to say, you take over Chippa. I said no. And Mr. Evere then took over as head coach, where I still continued. I asked him, you leaving? I'm leaving. He said, no, stay until I find something, and then we can move. And I stayed and refused the head coach position at that moment. I was still second year or third year into my coaching, and I took his advice. I didn't take over a team until 5 years. And even when I did take over Maritzburg prematurely, I then stepped back and went back into assistant until I completed my pro license. And yeah, now the journey, and I think the education has not stopped. But like I said, Ernst Middendorp is definitely a huge influence in where I am today. And I don't think I'd be if it wasn't for him. On the other hand, my football playing career, I think my father is the one that has pushed me to be a professional, that drove me for extra training sessions, that instill this working mentality of hard work. We'd have our training with our team, and then I'd have my training, and he'd push me the days where I felt it's raining in Cape Town, the wind is blowing, but he instilled that discipline, that work ethic, that mindset that in myself. And I think without him planting those early seeds of work ethic, of hard work, of pushing yourself to the limit, like I said, I wasn't the most talented, but with extra training, with hard work, and I was able to build a career and build a career that I have as a player. And of course, the next step in relation to that, moving into coaching, is definitely Ernst Middendorp.
Okay, the last two, David, then Velile.
Afternoon, colleagues. Afternoon, coach. I hope you're good. It's David from Idiski Times.
Hi, David.
I think you played a major role, in Neo Maema and Roshan de Roy moving to Simba, and it was perhaps a bit unlucky that they just, joined before you left. Yeah, it was a matter of days or maybe weeks. How did you experience this? And then maybe as a second quick one, are you again looking? You mentioned you want to recruit for the second half of the season. Are you perhaps again looking for players from the PSL? Thank you.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for them, and I had that meeting with them where I decided to step down after our first Champions League match. We won 1-0. I had that conversation with them. It was a difficult conversation, but both of them were needing that support, first of all, from a coach, because both are top talents in South Africa that have never had much game time over the last couple of years. And I know Rushan because I was the one who gave him his debut at Maritzburg United. So I know him from the player he was, coming with a plastic bag, with his boots in the plastic bag, coming for a trial. And Neo Maema has been phenomenal in 1 or 2 seasons, I think, under Coach Rulani in the Champions League, performing. And we needed that type of players with a Champions League experience, and it was easy for me to recommend them to the club. And like I said, the president really backed me in relation to which signings I needed to make. And they're in an environment now playing Champions League, and both very respected throughout Tanzania. They've immediately established themselves as top players in the club without me, and that shows that they are top players, and they will be able to manage now, even though they've lost their coach. Even the new coach coming in, I'm sure will see their value and continue to play them because they are both top players and will really help Simba in the Champions League and to turn around the group stage, although they've lost the first two matches. Your second question, David, yes, I it will always be. We are looking on all areas of the world, and we're not close to South Africa. It's definitely a market that I know. And when you have two options, say where one option maybe a player you've worked with, or a player you know, or a player you know the personality where they will adapt to Morocco, because Morocco is also a different league, a different environment where there's no English. It's French and Arabic. And these are all the criteria you make when signing. There are certain players from the PSL that will not be able to adapt to the league, and there are certain players that will. And these are all the criteria we make. And yes, if there's an opportunity and a player that is available and is willing to come and that fits into our criteria, we will definitely look at it. And these are our recruitment meetings with our sporting director and the president and the board in relation to finding the perfect players to come in and not to only add depth into the squad, but to immediately affect the starting lineup. And it's a certain type of player that needs to be recruited for January. You don't really find the right players with the right mentality to come in and immediately impact your squad, and that is what we needed. So a very meticulous process into signing the right player for the club within the right position with the right mentality to be able to handle the pressures of a big club like Raja, but also to be able to help us take that step to get back into Champions League.
Thanks, Coach. Chairman, take us home.
Thank you, ST. Coach, you are in a tough league, as I've said before. The contestation for CAF spots is also very difficult. There have been suggestions and I understand deliberations at the high level of expanding the sports, especially something that would also attract eyeballs instead of just having two teams entering for a CAF Champions League or even CAF Confed, but maybe make it more of a strength versus strength, especially for the top 5 or top 6 ranked countries. Something that would mean maybe a Raja, a Wydad, a Bekane, or even ESFA playing in the Champions League together at the same time. Do you think this is long overdue, looking at where African football is heading now?
I think so. If you look at we always look to Europe, and we see now the format of different leagues having 4 places, other leagues having 2 places, other leagues even their winners having to go into qualification, and it makes sense because you want your big powerhouses always to be in this big African competitions, and of course you still give that window for certain countries that may not be in the top ranked leagues. But it will definitely strengthen this the Champions League. You see now how the UEFA Champions League, even with the change of format, it makes it more exciting. You always get to see two giants facing each other more often than not. The window is very small where you get to quarter final, where you see these giants facing each other of the CAF Champions League, and you want to create more big clubs and giant institutions facing each other on a more consistent level. Of course, you have to give the big clubs, and let's talk South Africa. You need Kaizer Chiefs in the Champions League every season. You need and it's difficult where you only have 2 spots. CAF Confederations Cup is a big tournament, yes, but you want to be in the elite, in the cream of the crop, and there's definitely one way, and I think it should be. We have to look to Europe, where the English Premiership has 4, and now maybe 5. It makes sense, and let's hope Africa can have more of these big giants playing against each other, because everybody wants to see a Raja, Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, the big clubs always playing in these competitions. And With Morocco, it's very similar to Algeria. You have four big clubs in Morocco. Berkane last season, their first Botola, but winning the CAF Confederations Cup this season, they've signed top players from Europe to be able to dominate Champions League. And the big clubs like Wydad and Raja has not seen Champions League in the last couple of years, but they definitely deserve to be there, just in relation to the magnitude of the Botola League, and exactly the same for South Africa. You want your top three giants to always be there in the Champions League. Will make it for much more exciting competition.
Coach,
Thank you, Coach.
we'll leave it here then. Thank you so much for taking your time out during a busy schedule to speak to SAFJA. We look for more of these engagements and we'll catch up soon. Thank you so much, Coach Fadlu.
Thank you, Mazola, and thank you, Chairman. Thank you to all of you for having me, and hope to see you guys in person soon.
Cheers, Coach.
Cheers,
Sharp,
guys.
Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.